So I want to begin by asking you about sort of preparing for the daunting task of playing the iconic role of Bilbo Baggins. Did you go ahead and talk to Ian Holmes or watch any of his performance? Did you try to stay away and just do your own thing?
I certainly watched it. I rewatched it with Ian's bits more carefully than I had done before. I mean, I'm reasonably familiar with the first trilogy, and I like it very much, and watch it sometimes at home with the family. But watching it with a purpose, was different. Where you'd actually pause and rewind and go, "What does he do there?" I knew that I couldn't spend 18 months just doing Ian's performance, because that would be deeply tedious and would do neither of us any good. So I just used what I could use of his that was helpful, that would facilitate the storytelling. Just so, because the audience, just once you tell an audience, "Oh, I'm the young Bilbo Baggins," they go, "Okay," So as long as you don't actually do anything to jolt them out of that, audiences are pretty accepting, and I mean that in the best, most straightforward way. So anything that I can help me and help them just go, "See, I'm the young Bilbo Baggins because he was doing that, and then I'm doing that as well." Just little signals, little clues, and he left lots of little clues that I could pick up on.
That's great. So it's sort of organically
Yeah, I mean,
into it.
yeah, I think so. But I never met Ian. I only met Ian, when the film was opening in London. I never spoke to him directly. I just watched him.
Did you have any concerns about sort of as an actor signing on to 3 years and 3 films and moving to Middle Earth / New Zealand to film, to do this?
I did, and I was able to kind of bring those up with Pete and Fran and Phil, who the 3 people at the top of the pyramid. And that, to give them credit, they were very gracious about that, and they understood my reservations. If you've got family, you tend to want to spend time with them. So that was my concern, was just how long it's away from home, how far, there's no nipping back to London from New Zealand. You can't do that in a weekend. So it was those practical things that I always have in my mind, because first of all, there's the dream of, "Oh God, it would be amazing to do this, and then I could do this, and wouldn't it just be incredible?" But actually, if you want to see the people you love most in the world, then you've also got to think about that as well. But from an acting point of view, no, I didn't really have that. I think the older I get, the more I've done, the more I kind of think it's so unlikely anyway. Almost you should be so lucky that you do something that people always associate with you. And I've always been mindful of it. I've always been a bit wary of that, of being tied down to a thing. But with this, I'm at a stage in my life now where I think, well, Jesus, if people want to see me as Bilbo Baggins, I'm not going to complain about that. That's a good gig.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good gig is right. What's it like being on a Peter Jackson set, especially a film that's as highly anticipated as this?
In all truth, I don't think the anticipation levels change what it's like. It's just it's big. It's very, very big. It's big in every conceivable way. You're able to be looked after in a way that you're not on most things, because most things don't have $500 million with which to help look after you. So in a way, it's very comfortable. They care about your welfare. The sets are unlike anything I've ever seen or am likely to see again. And there's a lot of green screen, and there's just a lot of people. That's what the set is like. It's hundreds of people around, banks and banks of kind of NASA people on computers, looking like they're sending a rocket to the moon. Of course, all that stuff gets to be normal very quickly. But on my first days on set, I was like, God, this is not like a film set I've seen before. Partly because of the amount of digital input on it. I've never been on a film like that.
Well, let me ask you about the technology of the film, the 3D and being shot in 48 frames per second. Does that affect you at all as an actor? And what was your opinion of sort of the much to-do that was made about the 48 frames per second?
Well, firstly, that it doesn't really affect you. I mean, 3D had its kind of, the camera had its teething problems in the first few weeks of shooting. Where it would pack up and want a little break, and then you kind of start up again half an hour later. But those were ironed out pretty quickly. The frame rate makes no difference to us at all in the doing of it. And yeah, I understand it's people's cup of tea or it's not, but I've seen it about 5 times in the higher frame rate in 3D. I really like it. I think it suits this story. Obviously it wouldn't suit every single film ever being made, but I really respect the fact that on a film this anticipated, on a film this expensive, Pete chose as well, right, not content with that, I'm going to challenge people further and see if they're up to, you know, the challenge of watching a higher frame rate, which none of us have grown up with, none of us are really au fait with. I think that's very, very a bold move, and he does it because he believes in it, you know. And he copped some flack for it, but he also, you know, well, we're passing $1 billion, so something's going right.
Yeah, something went right. He's
Yeah.
Peter Jackson, so I think he can get away with it.
Yeah.
Martin, thank you so much.
Thanks a
Pleasure
lot.
meeting you.